What if I told you that one of the best ways to grow your farm's customer base doesn't involve spending tons of money on ads or creating more social posts? It's collaboration, teaming up with other businesses to cross-promote and borrow the trust of their audiences. Today, we're diving deep into how to create marketing collaborations that actually work for your farm. And I've got a guest who's an expert on it. Let's get started. Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 322 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategies so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show, wherever you are. Big shout out to my regular listeners. Welcome back. And if you are new to the podcast, I'm really glad you're here today. Make sure that you subscribe to the show. Go check out my first 10 episodes. I designed them to be an onboarding ramp into the marketing space. So if you're a little bit green or clueless about how marketing works, that is going to give you a great foundation. Another place to go to learn the ropes is to get on my email list. Because when you do, I'm going to send you an email roughly every 4 days for like 3 months. I know that sounds like a lot. You don't have to read them all. Just file them away in a folder in your inbox. But each one is designed to teach you some key principle of marketing or point you to a really good episode you need to listen to of my podcast, or give you a marketing template or a freebie or an idea for an offer. There's just so much good stuff in there, and you can read it real quick, get the idea, be inspired, and move on. So if you want to get onto that list, it's free. Just go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe, and it'll start the very next day. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at Local Line. If managing orders, customers, and inventory feels chaotic this season, it might be time for a better system. Local Line is the all-in-one sales platform built for farms and food hubs. Whether you're selling direct to consumer or managing wholesale buyers or running a CSA. With tools like e-commerce, automated inventory management, subscriptions, barcode scanning, box builder, and POS, Local Line helps you simplify operations and grow your sales. In fact, farmers using Local Line increase their annual sales by 23% and boost their average order size by 9.5%. Switching is easy. No setup fees, no sales commissions, and your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront for free. No joke, so that you can get started without missing a beat. As a podcast listener, you'll also get one premium feature for free for a full year when you use my code MDF2025 at checkout. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/local line, use that coupon code, and you'll be on your way. Start selling smarter this season with Local Line. And now back to the show. All right, well, welcome back to the My Digital Farmer podcast. So glad you're here today. Today's topic is all about how to use collaborations to market your farm. Now, this is a strategy I have been exploring myself. And if you listened to a recent podcast episode, I've talked all about a new frozen prepared foods line that we are currently beta testing this season in collaboration with a local chef. And it's been an amazing way to test new ideas, to build buzz, and tap into a whole new audience, all without feeling like I'm doing it alone. And that's what we're going to explore today, how you can set up collaborations like this one to grow your farm business in a way that's strategic and fun. Now, there are a lot of different examples of collaborations, not just a prepared foods line or working with a chef, but we'll talk through a bunch of what they might be. Now, to help us break this all down, I've invited a fantastic guest, Erika Tebbins. And Erika is part of the team at Taste the Local Difference, where she helps farmers create marketing assets like websites and email campaigns and social media ads, branding strategies. And she's really passionate about helping local food businesses market themselves more effectively. And so today she's here to share how collaborations can help you do just that. So I'm going to read her bio so that you formally get introduced to her. And we had a fantastic conversation, actually went a little bit longer than what I'm even sharing with you today. She is so good, and I can't wait for you to learn from her. So let me read her bio here. My guest today is Erika Tebbins, and she is the Director of Impact at Taste the Local Difference. She's a marketing expert with 20 years of experience running businesses of all kinds, including farming and beekeeping. Now, if you don't know, Taste the Local Difference is a woman-owned, woman-led marketing agency for purpose-driven food and farm businesses. And before joining TLD, Erika spent a decade working with entrepreneurs on their sales and growth strategy as a highly respected business consultant for entrepreneurs. Please join me in welcoming Erika Tebbins to the show. Well, Erika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show too. I know I've worked with Taste the Local Difference several different times, and I have a lot of relationships with people from that organization. So it's fun to finally meet you in person. I know you've recently joined the team. Why don't you briefly introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do at Taste the Local Difference?
Yeah, so I am the director of impact here. I have been here for a little bit over a year now. And before that, I had my own consulting business. I was working with entrepreneurs and small business owners to help them on their sales and marketing growth strategy. And before that, I was actually a farmer and beekeeper, and I worked for another large farmer that you and I both know, Michael Kilpatrick, for many
Yes.
years. I was actually his very first market manager. And so I'll probably reference him in a few of these examples later on today. But yeah, so my background is this blend of I understand food systems and I understand business. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I've run all different kinds of businesses. And so what I do for Taste the Local Difference is that I help with our food systems impact partnership projects. So in addition to our marketing services, we also partner with all sorts of organizations, universities, economic development agencies, et cetera, to help do different types of marketing education, subsidized technical assistance, all sorts of really cool things.
Hmm. Now, when you worked with Michael, when I first heard about you, you were helping launch and teach farmers about how to do farmers markets well.
Hmm.
And so you also have like a long history in course creation and content creation when it comes to marketing as well, don't you?
I do. I do.
Like
Yeah.
if we Google Erika
Yeah.
Tebbins, we're gonna see a lot of things pop up.
Yes, yes. So I have a lot of experience in the digital marketing space as well, and course creation, launching,
All of
the
that.
whole gamut, the whole
Yeah. Yeah.
gamut.
You are well qualified to be on this show and
Yeah.
talking with us. So I'm so glad you're here. Tell me a little bit more about the kinds of farmers or food businesses that you are typically working with now. And like, what are some of the common themes and struggles that you see them bring to you at TLD?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I would say that the folks that we work with are very similar to the folks that you work with. They are farmers who are either in their earlier years of farming and just getting started, or they've been at it a while, but are, they maybe still have a day job, or their partner has, a day job to help supplement, or maybe they're full-time on the farm, but they are, still wanting to increase their revenue and streamline and keep growing to be able to serve more people and to be more profitable. And the common themes are, because we work with all types of farmers and ranchers and also specialty food and beverage producers and folks who are in agritourism as well. And the common themes are that they are so busy and they know that marketing is important. They know that marketing will help them, but they are incredibly overwhelmed either with understanding what to do when it comes to marketing, or they have gotten beyond the point of knowing what to do. And it's just a matter of they don't have time to do it. Or, it's
Mhm.
very hit or miss. It's very inconsistent. Maybe in the slower season, they are a little bit more on top of it, but then they get busy and then it falls off. And so
Yeah.
they're just constantly feeling like their marketing to-do list is never ending, whether that comes to learning about getting better at marketing or simply implementing the marketing that they know they should be doing.
Yeah. Or that it's just not enough.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
never get an when is enough enough? I know that that's something I'm always
Right.
battling. Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think also too knowing like is it even working? Like where should I
Yeah.
focus and this platform, that platform and it's a lot. It just feels like a lot.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways that I know a farm can accelerate their aptitude and their confidence in their marketing and even just starting to see results is through something we're going to talk about today, which is collaboration. So that's often
Hmm.
something that can really jumpstart you and help you grow your email list and get exposure and get more eyeballs on your brand. So I brought you onto the show today because I know you're really good at talking about this topic and can help educate my audience. And I thought maybe we could start out with a very generalist question because some people might not even understand what we're talking about when we say collaboration. So can you define that? Let's start there. What is a collaboration in the context of farm marketing?
Yeah. A collaboration in its simplest terms is you and another aligned business owner that serves the same ideal customer. You come together and basically do a short term or long-term partnership. Typically, it's more short-term, and you are working together to help promote each other so that you can both succeed and sell more. So it's
Mm,
basically at its core level, it's like that saying a rising tide lifts all boats.
yeah.
It's like that. So it's just yeah, it's you and another business owner coming together to help support and uplift each other so that you can both have more success and more ease.
Yeah. So let's give a few examples of what that could look like. I'm going to start because I
Hmm.
I was thinking about we recently this year decided to try a monthly chicken share, but
Hmm.
we don't actually produce the chickens. They're not on our farm. So we
Hmm.
reached out to a local vendor, chicken farmer, the Andersons in Bowling Green, and just kind of threw out the idea, hey, what do you think about adding on chicken to our product line and selling it to us wholesale? We worked out this whole arrangement. So they end up selling a whole bunch more chicken through our huge email list, right? So we have the ability to pre-sell it. We've got the eyeballs on our brand. We have their trust. And this is the ideal customer that wants this kind of products. They don't have to go and do the work of finding these people. And I don't know if it's going to go anywhere beyond one season, but it's kind of an example of just dabbling in. I know they solve a problem for me because now I can provide meat without me having to
Hmm.
actually do the meat myself. And it
Yes.
solves a problem for them because they can sell more product. What are some other examples that you have seen in working with farmers?
That is such a fantastic example. And I will give one that is similar to that idea of pairing a produce with a meat, which is if you have a place nearby, a restaurant or a caterer or something like that that can do a farm to table lunch or dinner and do
Mm.
it with combining a meat producer and a veg, and or fruit producer together to create a whole meal. That is a really great successful one. Some others can be if you have flower growers, all sorts of really cool workshops or like take and make classes. And that can be for, floral bouquets, flower crowns. If you have like a lavender farm, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with that, obviously. And then just other things like at the farmers market with pairing up recipes, collaborating on recipes that utilize ingredients from more than one
Mm.
vendor. And if you have a farm stand and if you're able to sell different products from different vendors at that farm stand, you can do it there as well.
Yeah, like value added things that, yeah, you're marking up. I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So why is it that collaborations work so well as a marketing strategy for a local food business or farmer? Like what's going
Yeah.
on there? What's the benefit?
So, one of the things that is really great, and you actually touched on it in your example, is that you mentioned that the folks on your email list already trust you. And essentially, what all sales boils down to is trust. So, I'm sure that you talked
Mm.
about this. If people are, if they've been learning from you for a while, that idea in marketing and sales of know, like, and trust, right? So, in order
Mhm.
for people to buy from you, they have to know you exist. They have to like what you're all about or like your product. And then they have to trust that it's going to be worth the dollars that they're paying for it, right? So,
Mhm.
the folks that already trust you enough to spend their money with you, especially if they're, paying you again and again and again and like enrolling in your CSA and stuff, they already know they trust you. They already know that you are going to deliver. And
Mhm.
so if you say, "Hey, I know this chicken producer and I have partnered with them," what you are doing or what that chicken producer is doing is they are borrowing the trust that you have built up with
Mm.
your customer. So that's one. So that's really one of the core things that you are doing is that you each person in the collaboration gets to borrow the trust of the other person, which is why
Yeah.
it's really 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 fundamental that you are only collaborating with other folks that are aligned with you. So meaning aligned
Yeah.
in your work ethic, your values, your quality of product, etc., right? Because you don't want to tarnish your brand reputation that you've worked really hard to build up.
Yes.
And part of why this works, the number one um converting, sales lever is word of mouth. And it's because word of mouth is essentially borrowing trust, right? If you are talking to a friend and you say, "Hey, where is somebody, somewhere I can go that maybe I haven't been to before that's good for a date night or that I could, buy a gift for somebody." If they tell you, "Oh, go to this restaurant or go to this boutique or, whatever the case may be," because you trust your friend enough to ask them for the recommendation, if they're recommending something, you trust that word of mouth recommendation, right?
Hmm.
The second thing is that you are able to then amplify and get the word out for each other. So let's just say that in the most simple terms, each of you has 100 people in your audience, right? So instead of you always just advertising to your own 100 people. Now you are cross marketing to each other's 100 people. So imagine that maybe only 20 people on each of your, email lists or audiences already know about that other producer. Well, now if you're each cross promoting, now the other 80 people that didn't know about you now get exposed to you, right? So it's the borrowed trust and the cross promotion make it such a powerful combination.
I want to just follow up on that a little bit because I want to make a distinction here. This is a collaboration. Tell me if I'm wrong, but to me, a collaboration is where both parties agree to do the behavior, right?
Yes.
Where it's not like I'm going to be the only one that's talking up this other person, but they're also supposed to talk you up to their audience. Because you can do one or the other, but I feel like a collaboration ideally is designed where there's an agreement between both parties. Like, I'm not going to be the only one talking about you in my email list. Like, you're going to talk about me in your email list too, right? Like,
Yes. Yes.
and so I think
Exactly.
that that's sometimes where collaborations can break down if there isn't clarity about that and about like what do we expect from each other? What at a bare minimum are we agreeing to? Because I have had moments like that where I feel like I've done more of the lifting
Hmm.
and I'm like, I'm not sure. Like it was still good, but I wish that they had done more to like talk about me to
Yes.
their people. But yeah, so I
Yes.
just wanted to point that out because I think that can come up. What about this idea of another like benefit is just the have you ever seen like momentum builds like where because two parties maybe they're larger size businesses are now talking about the same thing there's just like this ripple effect of energy.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like this is where you see it a lot actually in the online space. And, for those of you who uh, are less in the online space or have less familiarity with it, um, you may be familiar with summits, right? As a participant in a summit and, not somebody who has
Mhm.
presented in a summit, but essentially, summits work on the same principle in that, when you participate in a summit, it's a lot of like experts and educators coming together to each teach their own, subject matter that they are experts in. And they're usually around like a theme, like a core theme or a core focus, a core like niche or topic,
Mhm.
something like that. And then everyone is teaching and you are able to like because everyone in that collaboration is supposed to be amplifying the summit, it creates this buzz. Now
Yeah.
those are typically much larger forms of collaboration because they usually have many people working together,
Mhm.
so it creates a lot bigger buzz. But even if you have just two or three folks doing a collaboration, if it is successful, if people really enjoy it, it can create this exciting buzz where people get really excited about, especially if it's an event you do maybe once or twice a year, where then people are like, oh, hey, this thing is coming up. I went last year. Like, you got to come with me this time. Right. And,
Mhm.
and people will start again to do that word of mouth. They'll tell their friends,
Yeah.
like, we got to go to the Strawberry Fest. We got to do the Harvest Fest. We got to do
Yeah.
this make and take class. We got to go to this dinner, whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. And then it becomes this thing that people really anticipate and get
Yeah.
excited about.
Well, because you have social proof that's
Yeah.
starting to work for you too. You
Yeah.
get this sense that a lot of people are talking about it and that's validating that this is a
Hmm.
cool thing and I should go do it. So I think that's definitely one of the perks of one of the things that I've seen come out of my collaborations that I didn't expect the first time. And I was like, oh, this is a nice side benefit and actually a really powerful one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, and that is where you are getting those raving fans that are then doing organic marketing on your behalf, like for
Yeah.
free, which is phenomenal and definitely what every business owner dreams of.
Yeah. I've also been in this situation, especially when I was early on starting out, where a collaboration I think actually helped elevate our brand.
Yes, yes.
So when we needed a boost, it's like, let me go find people that I want to associate with, that I want to be associated with, but I'm not there
Yes.
yet, maybe, but I'm close, but I think I could be in the club. Right.
Yes.
And then just being with them in this collaboration suddenly, again, accelerated my my progress towards that echelon.
Oh, absolutely. And I will say in those instances, and I imagine you'd probably agree, when you are that, when you're the one that is sort of trying to get into the space and borrow the trust of those
Mhm.
people that are much more established, that is one of those cases where you may have to do more of the heavy lifting of promotion and just like, take it as part of the growth process of
Yeah.
like they have earned the place where they are at and you are on the up and up. And
Yeah.
so you're going to have to push that boulder a little bit harder, but it will
Mhm.
be worth it because it's going to get you to where you want to be faster. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Today's podcast is sponsored by Taste the Local Difference. Is your marketing to-do list starting to feel like a second full-time job? When your list of tasks is growing longer by the day, or you've got a highly technical project like logo design or setting up your e-commerce shop, you need farm marketing experts like Taste the Local Difference. With over 20 years of experience, TLD is my recommended go-to marketing agency for purpose-driven farmers and local food entrepreneurs because working with these businesses is not only their passion, it's their sole focus. No wonder most of their clients see an average of 200% return on their investment within the first year after service. So whether you need a marketing plan to reach more of your ideal customer, or a graphic design for labels, packaging, or advertising, or a beautifully built website fully optimized for web search, the farm marketing experts at Taste the Local Difference can help you with all of that and more. And they have a special offer just for My Digital Farmer podcast listeners. Go to localfoodmarketing.com/podcast to learn more. And when you fill out a no obligation marketing inquiry form, just mention My Digital Farmer and you'll get 10% off any marketing service up to $300. That's localfoodmarketing.com/podcast. And now back to the show. Well, what are some simple, like low lift collaborations that a farmer who's listening might try this season? Let's come up with like a short list.
Yeah. So I would say if you are at a farmer's market, if you have other vendors that have, again, that are aligned with you, your brand, you serve the same ideal customers, you know that they are going to want to partner with you, all of those things. Think about ways that you could potentially have like a recipe that you develop together that uses both of your products. And then you could have something like a recipe card that potentially also has, like a coupon or something with it. And then you have that there, you each divvy that up and you do that cross promotion in person where you are highlighting whatever it is. I don't remember what it was that we used to have when I worked for Michael, but I do remember that we used to like partner with this really great cracker maker at the market. It's funny because I don't remember what we were promoting, but I remember that we partnered with them and we would do sampling and we would sample with their crackers. And so we would,
Mm,
show off, but then like they would, cross promote with us and stuff too. So that is one of those things. You can similarly do it with, if you have a like a farm stand or a digital platform or something like that, or a CSA, like you were talking about, something where you are the one that is the like hub of sales, and then partner with other vendors that have something that you don't and see if you can buy it in wholesale and then provide it that way. That is another one. And then another would be, if you have something that is like, uh, especially if you have space and you're already set up for like an agritourism type situation where you're already doing, different events and you have the insurance, you have all of that. Think about ways that you can incorporate other folks who might, you know, bring in something new and something fresh and something fun to that space. So whether that is live music, paint and sip, having people, reaching out to photographers locally. Like if you have a really beautiful setting and saying like, hey, are, we have this space, we have this beautiful sunflower field or whatever it is, you could do family photos, senior photos, like
Mm.
whatever it is that, again, make sure that you're set up properly, but something like that where it's doesn't necessarily have to be a massive event that you are putting on, but you are coordinating with them and saying, the only thing that we ask is like, please tag us on social to get the word out about our farm and things of that nature. So you can also partner with, if there are places nearby to you that already are hosting classes so that people don't have to come to you, but you can bring your products to them. Especially, mocktails are really big right now. So if you have somewhere in a nearby town that maybe does different types of classes or workshops or different fun things, see if you can partner with somebody else to do like an herbal mocktail class or fruit mocktails, shrub making, like vinegar shrubs, things like that with your products. Like I said, bouquet making, floral crowns, just like all sorts of different things. There are ways where if you are not set up for agritourism, you can go and partner with other folks who might love to use and feature your products in their classes and workshops. And then also, other restaurants, like I mentioned earlier, if there are restaurants that are already doing farm to table, especially if you are already doing any sort of supply to them, see if they would be open to hosting a special themed dinner with your products. See if,
Mm.
that could either be just a theme night with featuring your products, or you could collaborate, like I mentioned earlier, with another producer and do a whole, evening where it's, a veg and a meat or, a fruit and a grain or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, we actually did that 2 years ago. We did a spin-off or a version of the TV show where we had contestants from our CSA who became finalists through a bunch of challenges that we ran in our CSA to compete in this um, cook-off challenge. I can't remember the name of the show
Oh,
right
like
now. Chopped.
Chopped.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
gosh,
our
that's
version of it
so
was our
fun.
version of Chopped. So we reached out to a chef and said, "Can we use your space?"
That's so
And
fun.
we promoted it. We were in their space. He was one of the judges, and we made it a big hoopla. And our, you know, CSA just loved it. And we had six finalists. Their families came. So they made a bunch of money just from selling food that whole night. And then it was just a really neat thing. So it was easy to promote and talk about on social media. And it did that whole like build momentum, build energy. Oh, that's so creative. How clever, right? So it gave our brand a bunch of energy.
Oh my gosh.
And
That is like, what a hoot. That is
it was so
so
fun. Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah.
love, love, love that idea. I love that.
Yeah.
I
And so
love
like
that.
did we make oodles of like we didn't make any money off that as a farm. Well, I guess we sold some produce to our chef. So I guess we did a little bit. But the payoff for us was all kinds of goodwill in our customer base. This brand energy, this feeling of my farmer's fun. This is creative.
Yeah.
And then the people who competed, like they're now bought in. The people who won, they're bought in for life. They're like super fans and celebrities in our community. Now people are aspiring to do the next one and be someone like that. So there's all these positives that have come out of it
Yeah.
for us as a business. Maybe it wasn't a dollar figure for us, but there are other really good things that came from that collaboration that were just as valuable to us. And so I just
I
wanted to
love
bring that
that.
up. Yeah.
I love that. That is so, that's so great. That's such a fun idea. Cause like, yeah, like you said, that is a thing that creates raving fans. It creates buzz. It gets the word out. It's like, it's the perfect combo.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I love it. And I even think, I know when I used to work for Michael, we always did a big strawberry fest in the early summer. And it was great. And a lot of our CSA families would come, a lot of our market regulars would come. And again, I know not everyone wants to do something on site completely, but and at the time we would just make all of the shortcakes and we would do strawberry shortcake and stuff. And we would just make it all ourselves. But that would be a great thing if you have fruit and there's like a baker near, somewhere in your town or somewhere else that uh, that would want to collaborate with you, that they could provide the cream, they could do the shortcakes, and you provide the fruit.
Mm,
That would be a great thing to be able to come together and do something really fun. And you could make like a
mhm,
whole, family event out of it, even if it's at like a community center in your town, it would just be so great. Or do like a cobbler or a something. I don't know. Just, yeah, think about like, what is fun? Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. Think about, people love to have exciting things to look forward to. I know one actually this year for Mother's Day, there's an herb shop in our town, and they had like a floral dyer, like a natural fabric dyer come in and did a make and take silk scarf floral dyeing
mhm.
workshop. So fun. It was awesome. And I dragged my 20-year-old son to that with me. And then last year I took him to a kind of like a co-working community space that's really cute that hosted a thing run by a florist that was like a make your own bouquet. Like they taught you how to best practices to make a beautiful bouquet workshop. Dragged my son to that. And, those are all things I feel like you could essentially, if you have those other folks in your community, could partner with in those ways to think about
Yeah.
like I don't need more stuff as a mom. I just want to have a fun experience with
Mm,
my son, and I love learning. I love stuff like that. So for me, I love like a Mother's Day event like that.
yeah. I'm still thinking about your example of the photographer for whatever reason. And I think what struck me about that example is that sometimes a collaborator um, can end up giving you, I guess it's similar to the Chopped experience too, that the value that you receive in it may not be in the form of income or cash, but every time a photographer comes and uses your space and shows off your gorgeous farm in the background or mentions this was taken at Shared Legacy Farms, that's another moment that somebody hears the word Shared Legacy Farms,
Yeah.
right? And it
Yep.
begins to become more present in the environment and in your location. Uh, Maybe not because people are like, oh, I'm going to go get my photo taken at Shared Legacy Farms, but if it becomes a popular photo place, it's just showing up. It's just helping you create product awareness, brand awareness in and more eyes now when they see you again later in another environment, like, oh, they sell vegetables, or here they are at this market, or here they are at this event. I heard of them. They were at such
Hmm.
and such, right? So I guess I just want to challenge people who are listening. Don't just think about collaborations in terms of what can I get out of it money wise, but there are
Right.
other benefits that come from it that may be even more valuable to accelerate your growth.
Yeah, and that I'm really glad you mentioned that because that's such a key point because you may not always, like you said with the chop challenge, like you didn't make a ton of money in the moment, but it's a compounding
Yeah.
effect, right? And so even something like the example I gave of the strawberry fest, I honestly don't remember now, what we used to make. I don't necessarily think because we needed so much staff and so much prep time and everything, I would be willing to bet it was not a huge moneymaker. However, the benefit is that people would it would take so many photos of them and their kids and having fun, and they would bring their picnic blankets and they would hang out, and it gave such a good feeling for the
Yeah.
farm, and people would then have a reason to bring their friends with kids, and then their
Mm,
friends would get exposed to the farm and the experience of you know, dealing with that business, having an interaction with that business and that brand. And then they were more likely to want to shop with us at the farmer's market
hmm.
because the farm
Yeah.
was like an hour outside of town, right? So it was like this excursion. But then they would, come to the Saturday market, come to the Wednesday market. Then they're
Yeah.
more likely to become a CSA member. They're more like, it's like an entry point to get them into the orbit and to get them on the process of becoming a customer and a repeat customer and a raving fan. And
Right.
so like no, we may not have made in that moment much money from them, but if you look at the lifetime customer value of that,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Which is what we're always aiming for is the
Mhm.
lifetime customer value. In case you guys didn't know that, those of you who are listening,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Lifetime customer value.
That's what
Yeah.
separates the beginning farmers from the advanced ones, okay? Like
Yes.
we're all about lifetime customer value, so don't fret about the fact that you had to spend $1 to acquire this lead. Like they're going to make you thousands of dollars over the course of your life. So be okay with
Yes.
that. But yeah, like we are always trying to figure out the retention play. And so I think that this is what these events, maybe they don't make you money in the moment, but they're giving you they're giving the customer a positive experience with the brand. And anytime you can do that, a warm, fuzzy feeling, you
Hmm.
increase the likelihood of them wanting to come back and buy again. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about planning and execution because what is your advice for initiating a collaboration, right? Like, so how do you reach out? You spot somebody, you have this idea, and now you're like, how do I ask them out? Right? Like, how do I
Yes.
get them to want to do this? Do you have any, like, what have you seen farms do? What do you advise people to do when you counsel them?
Yeah. So I would say start with the folks that you already have a relationship with first that could be a good fit, right? Because that is always
Yeah.
going to be the easiest. Make a list of some ideas and then think about who you know based on those ideas and start to do the outreach that way and just, figure out would they be interested? If so, what might it look like? Did they have other ideas for you? All of that. Um, if there is nobody that fits that bill, or if you reach out to them and they're not interested or anything, then I would say that is when you can think about other places that may not be already like familiar with you, or you may not already have a type of relationship with. And that is when it's really good to have an idea in place and you want to speak to the benefits, like how is it going to benefit them when you make the pitch, and what you are going to like be bringing to the table and what you might, need from them, and then ask them, or sort of tell them what next steps might be to discuss it more. So you're not going to dump the entire bit of info on them of the whole plan. But you might say, so like, let's just say very simply that, um, you are a like flower farmer and you want to, um, work with like a creative in town, a florist or something, that would do a make and take class or something like that. Or you want to start having photographers come to you. What you would do is you would look for those that, seem aligned with
Yeah.
your brand and seem like they would probably be a good fit. And then you would reach out and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what we are about. Just like a brief elevator pitch about your brand, like who you are, what you do. Uh, and then say, I would love to talk to you about collaborating on a fun like bouquet making class or floral crown making class or whatever might be like on trend in your area. Obviously, this can depend wherever you are in the country, right? And time of year, et cetera, right? And pitch them the idea, pitch them, why you think it would be great or like what demographic would come or what holiday you should do it for, whatever the thing might be. And then just, and oh, and also let me back up and say, if you have a specific like date or time frame in mind, give them enough time because just we should just all assume that like everyone is busy, right? So
Mhm.
give other people enough time too, because not only are you going to need enough time to plan it and figure out the details, but then you also need enough time to promote it, especially if it's a like singular event that is going to take place versus something that is like an ongoing thing.
Mhm.
So then you want to reach out, like, or, when you reach out, then just say, like, I would love to chat more with you about this. Here's how you can reach me. Um, and maybe give them a couple of, 2 to 3 dates and times that would work for you. So kind of narrow the options and then go from there and see if you haven't heard from them in a week, I would follow up. Also, don't be afraid if you never like if you don't hear back from people or if you get no thank you, it just comes with the territory,
It's part
right?
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also I would say too, kind of like as an in between between people that you already know and people that you don't know at all, is tap your network. Are there people that you who know those other people
Yeah.
that could intro you to them or have other ideas or have other connections, things like that. Because similarly, you're going to be borrowing the trust of your friend who might know that floral designer or might know the person that, runs that space that you want to use or whatever the case may be.
Right. To make them give a second look. I get pitched so
Yeah.
often by people, and a lot of times I don't even answer the email, and it's just because I'm like, I don't know who they are. What if they're just getting started and they don't have stuff figured out? Like, I don't want to
Right.
take all this time and then put myself out there and my brand out
Right.
there to introduce them to someone and they can't even, I don't know.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough of a runway that had been built between me and this person in terms of trust. I was going to suggest, like, when we've tried doing stuff like this, it has always come from a place of relationship first, at least the best versions.
Yes.
And we sort of have a practice like we're at least going to go try the product first ourselves, see if we
Oh,
like
yeah.
it, right? Um, and then I can more confidently come to the vendor and the relationship and say, I love your ice cream. We are obsessed with
Mm-hmm.
it. We buy it every couple weeks. We get like 4 pints of it. Or, there's some kind of a show on our part that we have already invested in them first.
Yeah.
And that also seems to grease the wheels a little bit where they're like, oh, there's almost like there's already a little bit of a relationship. Or maybe it's like I've been stalking them on social and I've been just commenting and being like, love this, love that, so that they've seen Shared Legacy Farms
Yeah.
already for a few months saying things before I then come in and be like, Hey, I just love your material. What do you think about talking with me about a collaboration? Then I'm not a complete cold caller. I'm at least someone that they've seen has shown interest in them.
Yes, 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 absolutely. It's always you're you're always going to get better results if you can either start to build a relationship yourself or leverage an existing relationship that you have to make the connection for sure. And I think
Yeah.
one thing that helps too, because I used to have my own podcast, and the pitches that always stood out to me were when I could genuinely tell that the person had paid attention to my podcast and
Yeah.
referenced something in my podcast, and we're not just doing, the spray and pray and
Hmm.
hoping for a yes, but they took some time and they were being intentional. So, yeah, even if it is that more cold outreach, is like referencing, like you said, because you're going to be doing that vetting process anyways to make sure that you're aligned, use some of that vetting process to reference things like,
Hmm.
I selected you. I want to partner with you because XYZ,
Hmm.
because I saw that you know, like we are aligned in such and such way. And I
Hmm.
really love how you prioritize this in your business.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
your, like, I love that your bouquets are very like organic looking, like
Hmm.
really show them that you again are not just asking everyone in your whole area hoping to get a yes, but that you are specifically reaching out to them because you want to partner with them. And
Hmm.
yeah, and then if you're close by or anything like I feel like that's where you can say like, part of meeting, like I would love to, I could show you my product. I want to make you comfortable, like the whole thing so
Yeah.
that it's mutually beneficial for both parties.
This is actually making me think of a very specific example of it's almost like an influencer relationship that I'm thinking about. I have a woman in my CSA who is a naturopath,
Mm.
and she first started her business maybe 3 years ago. She's very good at social media marketing, and like she is like sold out now. Like it is hard to get into her clientele now. And I just keep thinking about her and I'm like, man, at first when she was beginning, I was hesitant to try and co-market together. I feel like there is some alignment between what we do and what she does, even though she's healing people, but we
Hmm.
provide, vegetables. And then I had this whole like gut healing experience this past year. And I thought a lot about her because I'm like, wonder if I should go see her. I didn't end up doing that, but she just keeps coming up. And as we're talking about this, I'm like, this is kind of an example of a potential collaboration where we could just meet up and just talk about is there a way we could work together? Like you sort of like, I have a story that I'm going to be telling about my gut health. I can be pointing to your business. I could be talking about how you're a CSA member as a resource. Maybe you
Hmm.
could be talking about us and our vegetables to your clients and just make them aware that, hey, you should be eating organic food. I have a farmer that I'm a member of a CSA and I know they have an online store. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know where that could go yet, but I'm like, oh, this is a great, like, this is a collaboration that could happen. And it's another way to do it where you find some kind of, it's coming out of a health issue for me.
Yeah.
But that's to me, at first, maybe you don't see the alignment, but because I have this story that my community knows about now, it does have alignment. It would make sense for me to be pointing to a doctor who's more like a functional medicine doctor and be like, hey, alternative ways of healing yourself using food. So anyway, I'm just talking out loud now,
Yeah.
but I think that that's another kind of way that this could look. So just for those of you who are listening, if that hadn't occurred to you, maybe that's something that you could explore. You could go find someone in your community who serves that sort of role in the healing space. And again, I don't exactly know what I'm going to say when I sit down with her, but I feel like I need to just meet with her and say, is there something we can be doing to point to each other's businesses? Because I feel like there's a way that we could continue to amplify one another. Even again, even if it's not about this, about money.
Right.
Um, yeah. So that just kind of
Yeah. No,
that's
and
a
it's
random thought. I just thought of influencers. I was like, influencers kind of fit in here. Usually an influencer is where it's not both ways, right? Where you're just like, here's some money, talk about me.
right, right,
But
right.
sometimes it's both. Like in this case, we would both kind of be influencing each other.
Right.
Um,
And I think too, like it's great that you mentioned that because I think sometimes it can feel stressful if you're like, well, I have to think through every single detail before I can approach somebody about something. And then it can easily lead into like, overthinking something to death. And then you're like, I don't know, and then you just never get around to it, right? It just becomes
instead
this,
of a true collaboration of what could it even become together. You're right, because you come
right,
in, you're like, this is the offer, take it or leave it. Instead, they're like,
right.
well, that's not, I don't like that idea. What if it was more like this? And you're like, no.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. You do not need to come in hot and like
Yeah,
strict on the thing. Like it's great to have, an idea or two if especially if that person is a bit more like cold to you and
yeah,
you don't want to put like a lot of labor on them to have to like get to know you and figure out what to do when you're asked, all of that. But if it is somebody, especially people that you already have that relationship with or you're in community with,
mhm,
and you know that there is some alignment there, then it's a great idea to just be like, can we brainstorm this? Would you want to do something? If so, like, let's have a cup of coffee and figure out what that might look like. And you could talk
yeah.
through a few different ideas.
Mhm.
And, it can be one of those things where like the two of you coming together could co-create something that is even cooler than what one of
You
you would have
originally
come up
thought.
on your
Yeah.
own. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Or even using the idea of the beta test. I recently did a whole
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
episode
yeah.
about the power of the beta test, but sometimes you don't know what you want until you meet and then you're like, "You know what? Let's just test it. Let's take the
Yeah,
pressure off. Let's just test this idea for 4 weeks and we'll learn a lot from it and we'll maybe change the offer or decide if we want to continue."
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. All right, farmer, let me ask you something. Is marketing your farm something you actually enjoy? Or does it feel like a constant struggle? If you are like most farmers that I talk to, you are wearing all the hats and marketing always seems to slip through the cracks. Can I get an amen? That's exactly why I created Farm Marketing School. It's an online membership designed to help farmers like you build a simple, repeatable marketing system that actually works. Inside, you'll get bite sized, step by step projects that make marketing easier. Each month, you pick what to work on, like writing better sales emails or improving your website copy or setting up your online store. And I walk you through exactly how you should be doing it. And you're not doing this alone. Every month, we have a live Zoom meetup where you can ask me questions, meet other members of Farm Marketing School, get coaching, and hear what's working for other farmers. It's like having a farm marketing mentor in your back pocket. This isn't some long, overwhelming course. The projects are designed to be completed in under 30 days, so you're making steady progress without it taking over your life. So if you're ready to stop winging it and finally build a marketing system that brings in steady sales, come join Farm Marketing School today. Sign up for your first month and see what a difference it makes. Go to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS to get started. And now back to the show. All right. Well, what kind of assets or tools could a farmer prepare ahead of time to make a collaboration easier for both parties? You sort of have hinted that
Hmm.
sometimes you should kind of show up with um, ready to do some heavy lifting. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So what the most fundamental thing, and I'll use a bit of like digital marketing jargon, but I'll explain it, is have some swipe files ready to go, which I know you know what those are, but it's essentially when you have your marketing assets ready to go. So what this would be is graphics, like your graphics for social media of how you're going to promote it. And then also whatever text would go along with it. So I know I referenced summits, digital summits earlier, but typically what happens in a well run summit is the organizer will give all the participants their social media graphics. They're all like, very branded. They look really good. They have all the info. They're very clear. And then there's usually some verbiage that is very brief for like a social media caption. And then there is some slightly longer verbiage that you would send in an email. And typically there's some of that verbiage is like highlighted in yellow, and it's very distinct of like, that's something where you would swap it out to your own words.
Customize.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very easy because again, everyone is busy. And so you are making it, you're increasing the odds of the other people that are involved actually helping to do the promotion, because you're not making them have to come up with their own things
Yeah.
from scratch, and you're keeping it cohesive. So that way everyone is seeing the
The
same
same.
thing. And people then it gets that like brand recognition. So like I would suggest, if you both have logos, get both of your logo files. Go into Canva, uh, you know, take a template, swap it out with some colors, make it look nice, don't make it too cluttered, and then figure out, uh what you want to say, put it all in like a Google shared Google Doc, and then that way you both have it. And then I would say come up with some sort of timeline, some sort of schedule of like, hey, here's when, like, let's
Mm,
agree, here's when we are both going to be talking about it and
right.
where and things like that, just so that the expectations are there and nobody feels like one of us did everything and the other person did nothing.
Right.
Um, and then if there is a need for any sort of like um, digital tech, like a registration link, a coupon code, anything like that, also just make sure that any of that is preset and test it first to make sure that it's working before you put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've made that mistake.
Yeah, we all have.
Ah, it's
We all
so
have.
awkward and so much work to correct it. Oh my God. All right. Are there any ways that you could repeat a successful collaboration? Let's talk about turning these things evergreen. Let's say you do it once and it's good and you want to do it again. What are some tips and tricks for turning it into a recurring promotion or campaign?
Yeah. So I would say shortly after it has completed the first time, do a debrief with your
Hmm.
partner, see what worked, what didn't, what you may want to change for next time while that info is fresh, because you will forget it. If you're going to do this like 6 months or a
Yep,
year from now, you will not
totally.
remember. So do it when it's fresh. And that way you can make a fresh plan in the moment, at least a rough, things might change down the road, but at least a rough idea of things that you would want to optimize, things that you would want to change, things that you would want to definitely not do again. Um, and then think about, okay, what would the timeline for that look like? And then, and I know you know this because you also know launching, people never give themselves enough time to market, I feel like.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, it's always better to give yourself enough time both to like bring awareness about the promotion and also just to buffer in time for like just life getting in the way of like, oh, I was supposed to send that email today or make that social post, and like then this thing happened and I couldn't do it, right? So figure out when you want that next thing to happen, that next collaboration to happen, and then do a little backwards planning of like, okay, when do we need to start
Yeah.
planning in earnest again? When do we need to start meeting again? When do we need to create the next round of assets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
Mhm.
so that we are not scrambling, so that we, have our ducks in a row, so that we can systematize this a little bit better and, yeah, basically make it even more of a success.
Yeah, I think too that once you've done it once, the hardest thing is to do it the first time.
Yeah.
Because the second time around you can use what you did the first time as a template. And that's one of
Yes.
the things that I didn't start doing until like 2 years ago, believe it or not. Now I have like a Google folder for all of my big promotions, and I just have a Google Doc that's got the debrief in it, but it's got the swipe copy, it's got pictures, all the graphics that I used, so that I can just even remember what were the assets last year, right? And
Right.
then a lot of times I even link off to the Canva folder where I have those assets originally, and I can just go in there the next year and quickly change the text, maybe flip out a few images, and it's a whole lot faster. So creating that a promotion, like a digital place where your promotion lives and you can just come back and duplicate it every year is actually a smart move. You don't have to start from scratch. Unless you're coming with a totally different theme, then it's a little different. But if it's a repetitive thing, it'll save time.
Yeah. That actually reminded me, while you're doing it, if it makes sense for the thing that you're doing,
Hmm.
try to capture images of the thing happening and try to get
Mm,
feedback from people in the moment or like right after.
like testimonials,
Hmm.
basically. Yeah.
And then that way you can use that for promotion the next
Later.
go
Yeah.
round.
Stick them in that promotion
Yeah.
folder for
Yeah.
next year or your Google folder labeled that or whatever. That's brilliant.
Hmm.
So making sure you capture content that showing the fulfillment of the offer and the transformation of the customer as social
Yeah.
proof. Yeah. I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have to wrap this up. If a farmer wanted to try to collaborate with someone for the first time, like what's a great starting point? This is sort of like that last question to wrap it all up.
Yeah, I would say find complementary products and try to just figure out a way that you can cross promote sales of each other's product in whatever way makes the most sense for you. Somebody that you already have a relationship with, that you trust, that you feel good about, and figure out for your unique circumstance and the person that you're partnering with, whatever makes the most sense for you to each be promoting with each other, whether that's, a simple recipe card with a coupon, whether that is like buying in a bit of, wholesale and trying to resell, whether it is, again, if there's somebody that you're already wholesaling to, let's say, and you have a great relationship with them, can they do a special, pop up or thing, featuring you, featuring your products, like an in-store demo, a sampling, something like that. Whatever has the least amount of friction in
Mm,
terms of getting somebody to partner with you and getting that thing off the ground, start there.
I love that. You guys, Taste the Local Difference, which is where Erika works, is I send people there all the time. It is an amazing place. If you're listening to this and you're like, wow, she's really smart. Everyone who works at Taste the Local Difference is like Erika. They're brilliant when it comes to marketing. And I send farmers there all the time who are like, I just don't have time to do this myself, Corinna. Can you just send me someone who's going to do it for me at a reasonable cost? They do amazing work. I worked with Trish, like so many good people there. And so I just want to highly commend them to you. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I just need someone to be my go-to person, please reach out to them. Can you just give our listeners a quick spiel about what TLD does, what the services are they provide for farmers, and then,
Yeah.
where they can go to learn more about you. But just give us a quick spiel.
Absolutely. One thing I love about us is that our entire team has experience in the food system. We're passionate about the food system, and working with folks in the food system is literally all we do. It's our
Yeah.
niche.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain to us what you do or who you do it for. We automatically get it. And that is the feedback that we always get from our clients is like, oh, you just get it. You get what I do. And we're like, yes, we do. So folks can come to us for basically any marketing service out there. If you need your first brand kit, your logo, your fonts, your colors, or you're ready for a rebrand, we do that. We can do a one-page website all the way up to like a super custom website, with e-commerce and the whole thing. If you already have a website and you want to add e-commerce or upgrade your e-commerce, we do that. We do all sorts of graphic design. So that could be custom packaging, market signage, vehicle signage, my gosh, like social media templates, email templates, literally any type of
Product stickers. Yeah.
product stickers. Yeah. Any type of graphic design that, your CSA boxes, any of that we can do. And then also strategy for, like fully robust, full marketing strategy for your whole business on multiple channels. Or we could do specific, very specific to social media, specific to email marketing. And we can also do full like email tech setup. So if you're like, I just do not have the time to do this email funnel, like, please, can I just get, have somebody help me with it? We can do that whole email automation setup for you, and more. So again, pretty
Mhm.
much if it's a marketing service, 9 times out of 10, we can help you with it.
Yeah. And it's short term, long term. It can be whatever you want. And do people
Yeah.
just reach out and is it a free like consult call just to figure out if you're a good match or is it,
Yeah. So the
yeah.
best thing is to go to localfoodmarketing.com, and there you can see an overview of a bunch of our services. You can see some of our past work. And there is always on there, there's a marketing inquiry form. So you just fill that out. It sends an email to our team, and then we reach out. There is no obligation. We have a chat with you. We figure out your goals, your budget, what you might be interested in, give you some suggestions, and then we create a custom proposal for you to look over. And yeah, so easy peasy. And we love everyone who has come to us through you has been fantastic. No surprise. And we also have tons and tons and tons of marketing resources. We love
Ooh,
to
tell us about that.
educate. Yeah,
Yes.
we love to educate. So on localfoodmarketing.com, there is a resources tab, or localfoodmarketing.com/resources. We have articles, we have free downloadable guides, we have webinars, like
Webinars.
all of our past webinars are there, future webinars you could register for. We have so much stuff, including a resource called the Marketing Plan Checklist,
Mhm.
which I know you're going to include in the show notes. But the Marketing Plan Checklist is a really simple, straightforward, downloadable that you can get in our resources, our free resources, that as you are planning a collaboration, you can have it, your partner can have it, and it is a checklist of the core things to do for a successful collaboration.
I will make sure that I link that up in the show notes. So many good resources. And one of the things I want to make sure we mention here too is that your turnaround time for these projects is fast, right? It's not like 6 months from now we'll have your website, right?
Right,
Because
right.
because I know us farmers, we have a problem. There's a fire and we want to put it out, and so we need to go to an agency and be like, help me. And you do actually do the work pretty fast. I'm
Yes.
always amazed. So cool.
Yes, we do. We do. And we love to help people feel like, marketing can, like I said at the beginning, it can feel so overwhelming. It can feel so confusing. We really try to make people feel calm and confident when it comes to their marketing. And
Yeah.
I feel like, having been working with entrepreneurs and being in marketing for so long, I really feel like we do such an excellent job.
Yeah. Well, you're very empowering. I mean, you definitely teach them here, I've made this thing for you. Here's how you're going to maintain it.
Yes,
Yeah. And
yes,
that's
yes.
also a huge bonus.
It is. And that is one of our core priorities, which I really appreciate is every single service comes with an educational component of the handoff. It's not just here you go, bye. It's we
Hmm.
really make sure people understand how to use the marketing asset and feel comfortable with it. And they also own it. Like it's
Yeah.
not, they don't have to keep paying us like a user fee for their website or anything. They own it. We hand it off. We show them how to use it. So it's
Yeah.
great.
Erica, you have to come back
Oh
again.
my gosh. Anytime, literally, I could talk all day long about
We
sales and
could.
marketing, like till I would black out from, yeah, like lack of oxygen. But I really could. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. I'm happy to come back anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I hope you got a lot out of that and that your mind is now spinning with ideas. Huge thank you to Erica. I had a ton of fun talking with her, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can get today's show notes at mydigitalfarmer.com/322. I'll be sure to link up those resources that she mentioned over there. Now, if you like today's episode, please go leave me a rating or a review on the podcast. Would you do that for me? I'd really appreciate it. Or send this specific podcast episode to a friend. You can just text the URL to another farmer. I'm trying to get as many people aware as possible that I even exist. There's so many good resources on this show. Now, if you want to get onto my email list, remember I have some free stuff to send you to make your marketing even better. And you can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe to get that started. Don't forget, I'm also now on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer. I would love to connect with you there. And of course, I'm inside of Farm Marketing School. Would love to coach you and get to know you better and build a connection. And you can learn more about that at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. Thanks for joining me today. Have an amazing week. And remember, I believe in you.